This LOS is compare substitution and income effects. A normal good is a good that a consumer buys more of with increases in income. An inferior good is a good that a consumer buys less of with increases in income. Income effects. As income increases, the consumer has a larger budget, and therefore the optimal bundle changes, resulting in a higher proportion of the normal good and a lower proportion of the inferior good. The substitution effect. Substitution effects are movements along an indifference curve. Substitution with income effects. If one of the prices changes relative to the price of another, the budget line changes slope and the new bundle of goods is along the same indifference curve but a different bundle, tangent to the new line. Okay, as we see often in economics, they like to use a lot of graphs. So this graph is going to depict what we just talked about on the previous slide. So this graph depicts an increase in the price of the inferior good. So when we increase the price in the then that is a change in the slope of the line. Okay. Now remember, these curves are our indifference curves. Okay. So it says there are both income and substitution effects at play here. So A is where we are at before, and then B is the effect of the substitution, which, as the slide said, it's a movement along a curve, but C is the effect of a real income change, because as the price changes, then it is in effect a real income change, the slope of the line changes, okay? So the curves move. So therefore, the change in demand goes from A to C, which is the result in part of a substitution and in part the change in real income. Okay, so here we've got the quantity of the normal good. Here we have the quantity of the inferior good. So from A to B is the substitution effect along the curve. From B to C is the income effect, which is a movement of the curve. Okay, so you can see when the price of an inferior good falls, the budget constraints pivot upward, so the substitution effect is QB minus QA, and the income effect is QC minus QB. So we'll just make a few bullet points here to support the last graph that we saw. So a change in the price of a good will result in a change in the real income of the consumer. The change in demand from this change is the substitution effect. A change in income results in 1, increased demand for normal goods, and 2, decreased demand for an inferior good. So we'll do a practice question to check our understanding. In the case of a normal good with a decrease in its own price, which of the following statements is most likely true? A, both the substitution and income effects lead to an increase in the quantity purchased. B, the substitution effect leads to an increase in the quantity purchased, while the income effect has no impact. Or C, the substitution effect leads to an increase in the quantity purchased, while the income effect leads to a decrease. Okay, I don't think that question was too hard. A is correct. In the case of normal goods, the income and substitution effects are reinforcing, leading to an increase in the amount purchased after a drop in the price, because it's a normal good. So the substitution and income effects are both leading to an increase in the quantity purchased when the price of a normal good decreases. One last slide here with some points to memorize. So a change in real income without changes in prices, that's a parallel shift in the budget line. A change in real income from a price change, that changes the slope of the budget line. We saw that in the last slide. And a substitution without any change in real income is a movement along the indifference curve. And that's the last slide for this LOS. Thank you.